Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It's Golem F. Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. Well, we're gonna start this show, unfortunately, with some unfortunate news. Shocking breaking news coming out of the world of professional boxing as two-time heavyweight boxing champion Big George Foreman passed away earlier this evening at the age of 76. Many people, I'm just going to go quickly into his career as George Foreman burst onto the scene as he won the gold medal in boxing at the 1968 Summer Olympic Games in Mexico City. Shortly after, he turned pro and worked his way up by defeating, and in 1973, basically becoming, for the first time in his boxing career, the heavyweight champion of the world as he knocked off Joe Frazier in a knockout performance that he ended up keeping the title until 1974, until he was finally upended by Muhammad Ali the first time via the knockout. And then, of course, one of his most legendary fights, the Rumble in the Jungle, in Zaire. That was when Ali basically uh, decimated George Foreman and took back the heavyweight championship of the world. He went on to continue his career, then retired only to come back in 1993. Fought against Evander Holyfield towards the end of his career and lost. But in 1994, a golden opportunity at the age of 45 years old, George Foreman knocked out Michael Moore to become, for the second time in his history, the heavyweight champion of the world. The fight happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was on HBO. And I remember the legendary call of Jim Lampley when the knockout happened, just uttered two words: it happened. That's all you needed to know. That was the shock around the world as Big George Foreman became the heavyweight champion of the world. Subsequently, lost the title a few months later in very controversial fashion. But after that, George Foreman went on to have a very good, stellar career as a color analyst for HBO Sports. And of course, he also had a success. He was also an entrepreneur, a very successful product, the lean mean grilling machine. George Foreman that has become an international staple for his career. Uh, and he was legendary for that as well. And well, I gotta say, it was a sad day for us, at least in the boxing world. George Foreman passing away. Like I said, the word got out about 2 hours ago that George Foreman passed away earlier this afternoon. Was confirmed by his family and was first reported by TMZ, but obviously more came out, or more news came out, and all the media outlets from around the world also got the word of this shocking news. And well, it is like I said, with much regret to report that George Foreman has indeed passed away. So obviously, our thoughts and our prayers are with George Foreman's family, as George Foreman, the two-time heavyweight champion of the world, has passed away this evening at the age of 76. So, Anthony Florio, I know you're not really a boxing guy. I know you're not really big into boxing, but you do know, George Foreman, through some various different things in pop culture, everything else. Of course, the Lean Grilling Machine. Um, Is there anything that you would like to talk about with George Foreman being passing away here at the age of 76 tonight?
Certainly. I mean, now I may not be a boxing guy like you, MF, but my late father, as you know, he was a big boxing guy, and I'm pretty sure George Foreman was one of his favorites. I mean, I know um, he definitely grew up watching those fights. I mean, I didn't know about any of them myself, but yeah, one of the greatest boxers to ever do it. Um, the big story for me was when he became the world heavyweight champion in 1994 when he was 45 years old, and Jim Lampley saying, "It has happened. It has happened." I'll never forget that. And that was, well, I mean, that was one of the only boxing memories I have of him. Of course, the grilling machine. We actually had that here in the family, yes, and we did cook some meat on it, and it came out really good. I got to be honest, it came out real good. I liked them. I liked it whenever we cooked some meat in that thing. I mean, it was really good, and I can see why it became one of the most iconic staples in pop culture. That grilling machine, unbelievable, and but yes, one of the greatest to ever do it. Um, an inspiration to so many others, and those funny commercials. I remember those too. With all those sons named George. I know that, and yeah, I know all about that. And but it's a very big loss for the world of boxing. And um, as I always say, to George Foreman, we simply say here on behalf of all of us at TXN Sports World, we simply say thank you for the memories, thank you for the inspiration, and most of all, thank you for George Foreman. You may be gone, but you sir will never ever be forgotten. You will be in our hearts and our minds forever and ever. Amen. So our thoughts and prayers and condolences to the family, and sad. It's always sad when we have to start a show like this, but it needed to be addressed. So it's only fitting it happened tonight because, as we all know, this is MF's show, and MF is the boxing guy. He's the boxing guru of our elite group here, and he knows a lot more about it than I do. And MF pretty much ran down the accomplishments, and he is someone who will be sorely missed. And I don't know what else there is to say that hasn't been said already. So with that being said, MF, it's tough for the show to go on, but the show must go on, and we will most certainly dedicate this show here tonight to the memory of Big George Foreman.
Absolutely, and we're gonna do it. We'll start off with TNA wrestling. We're gonna go pretty fast here because we got a lot going on, and we might have bonus commentary here. We got a very tight game going on, so we're gonna keep you guys posted here. We're gonna go just matches only for the wrestling portion of tonight. Started out with TNA wrestling. It was the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. They went up against the Northern Armory, and it was the Rascals winning the match in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Fun little sprint, solid 2-star bout. I think this could have been better if it was given more time, but at 4 minutes and 50 seconds, Anthony Florio, the Rascals beats the Northern Armory.
Short and to the point here with the Rascals continuing their rise back up the ranks. At the same time, the Armory stuff doesn't feel overly important. The team shouldn't be winning everything, but it feels like they almost never win, and that's going to be a problem if they're supposed to be anything more than the lowest of lackeys. So I'll actually give this about 2.25, 2.5 for the effort. So with that being said, set me up for the next match.
Mike Santana going one-on-one with Mustafa Ali. Mike Santana winning the match via countout in 4 minutes and 13 seconds.
2-star match. This was not the big ending in the story, but rather the next step as we get closer to a blow-off. That should make for a good moment as they are setting things up for the showdown. Maybe at that Unbreakable special on April 17th during WrestleMania week. They're making the fans want to see Mike Santana give Mustafa Ali what is coming to him. And that should be a nice moment, assuming that is where they go. 2 stars. MF, your thoughts?
Agreed, 2 stars. I thought they did a really good job with it. Could have been better in certain areas, but I'm not gonna be too mad about it. I thought they did a very good job, to say the very least. So let's just move right on along. We have ourselves a good matchup. Rosemary and Savannah Evans going up against Saya Brookside and Li Ying Lee, and it was Lee and Brookside winning the match in 6 minutes and 1 second. Probably better than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be nothing special, and it ended up being a fine 2.25 star match. I think the ladies actually did a lot. I thought it was a lot more better than I thought it was going to be. So at the end, 2.25, not bad. Anthony, it's yours.
2.5 for me. Rosemary continues to get in trouble with the mist, which hopefully doesn't have any special powers attached to it. There wasn't much to the match, but somehow it was the longest of the show to this point. Zaya Brookside is still someone who feels like she is just floating around without much to do, though she also hasn't shown that she is ready for some big step up either. So there really isn't much to say on that. 2.5 for me. Let's move on.
Unfortunately, we do got to cut out. It was Malice Warner going up against Mongo. Malice Warner winning the match in 1 minute and 1 second. Leads us into the main event of the evening. Oh, well, hold. Next week on TNA Impact, we got ourselves. So now what we got here is we have the new TNA World Tag Team Champions, or Women's World Tag Team Champions, Ash and Heather by Elegance. They are going to go one-on-one with, from NXT, Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. That will be next week. Then we have Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. and Chavo Guerrero. They're going to be going up against First Class and Frankie Kazarian. And then we also have on the show Masha Slamovich. She's going one-on-one with JC Jane of NXT. And in the main event of the evening, Nick Nemeth is going to go one-on-one with Leon Slater. So that leads us to the main event of the evening, as it was Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, Alicia Edwards in their corner, going up against Elijah and TNA World Champion Joe Hendry. And it was the Babyface Squad winning the match in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Anthony, it is yours.
This was little more than a match to get the world champion on the show, and it worked well enough. Joe Hendry doesn't have a clear opponent at the moment, and at least they didn't waste time in having him face someone in a big match here. Elijah might be the next challenger, and that's only going to be so interesting, assuming they even go in that direction. I have a different time on my end. I have 11 minutes and 8 seconds on my notes, but
okay.
I'm going to base it off my notes here. So I'm going to give this 3.25. By default, the fight of the night. Nothing, it wasn't a blowaway or anything, but it was default the fight of the night. So solid 3.25 for me. So MF, like I said, I have 11.08 on my end.
All right, 3.25. Yeah, fine. I thought it was a fine match. I thought they did a really good job. Really nothing more to add. So we just move on to the overall review, and you know what? Not bad. I think it was a pretty good end to the show. I thought it was a fine show. I go about 7 out of 10. I think they did an all right job. Really nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
6.5 to 7. I got to be honest, MF, I wasn't really feeling this show for the most part, as it was rather light on the in-ring action and never felt like much happened. I think they needed a breather after the Sacrifice special. But there is only so much time to get ready for the Unbreakable special that will take place on Thursday, April 17th during WrestleMania week. And you can see some of the card from here, but this show didn't exactly have me interested after Sacrifice. So this was a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 for me. So with that being said, are we moving on to SmackDown or bonus commentary, MF?
Let me see. I gotta keep a close eye on the action. I'm not really too inclined right now I'm sorry. Like I said, I got so many different things going on. Trying to keep an eye on the tournament and what's going on. Uh, I'm kind of on the fence about this. Well, all right. We got that. All right, hold on. Let me see. March Madness. Here we go. We might get into bonus commentary. Hold on, folks. All right. So there's one game right now where we might need it, but I'm gonna hold. I don't think we need to pull the trigger just yet, but we might be jumping in just a matter of minutes. If this keeps holding, we might jump in, but I'm not gonna say anything yet. Um, we'll keep posted, but right now we do have a developing situation. Um, let's see. Oh no, I didn't want. Where is it? Oh. So that's a earlier set. So that's the thing I'm gonna need for later on. All right, and then going. It's always more trickier when we're doing this live. So just hold on, folks.
No, I got you. I got you. So yeah, we have one blowout for sure, and
On TNT, this one, huh?
yeah, it's the Oklahoma UConn game. That's the close game.
Yep, that's the one I was talking about. We are gonna get into it right now. So we do have a. It is close enough that it does warrant it. First time to commentary, 64, 58, UConn ahead on Oklahoma with 119 remaining. So just give me 1 second to try to get it set up. Hang on, guys. All right, here we go. I'm in. So
All right.
I apologize, folks, because I kind of didn't think I was going to be able to get into this chaos, but because with everything going on. But yes, here we are. Raleigh, North Carolina is the game, and I'm just waiting for this pop up to eliminate. But the game is on the game is on TNT if you're watching on TNT. But here we go. So we're in it with 29.2 left, 2 free throws for UConn. Now they've made it a 65-59 lead. And of course, you can watch all the March Madness on if you got NCAA, the March Madness app, or if you got HBO Max, you can watch 3 of the games. Paramount Plus, if you got the Paramount Plus with Showtime connected, you'll be able to watch that as well. Driving, looking for a 3-pointer. Nope, that's no good. Rebound, still loose, recovered by UConn. There's the foul. And that might do it. Come on. Gets 2 free throws coming up. 19.4 remaining. And it's a 66-59 lead for UConn, and it looks like they will be able to hold off and advance. They will be playing Florida in round 2 if UConn can see this one out. First round in the West Regional, this game is. And we are just about there. So he just hit the first. He's got one more to go. And it's no good.
That's Alex Caravan.
So now Oklahoma, desperation 3, no good. Rebounded by UConn. There will be no foul, and that will do it. The UConn Huskies have started their defense of their national championship, 67-59 to win, and they will play on Sunday, and they will take on the top seed, the Florida Gators. That will be second round in the West Regional. UConn is a winner, and we now move on. One other point of note that we want to keep an eye on, Xavier and Illinois right now, with about 3.5 minutes remaining in the game. This game's on CBS, and it is Illinois with the lead right now, 76-68. We will keep a close eye on this just in case if bonus commentary is needed for that. The other games that we got right now is we got Michigan State is up on Bryant 60-49. And the other game that we have right now is Oregon. They're beating up on Liberty 56-31. There will be no 12-5 upset on that one. So, all right. So we're going to keep you guys posted. We are, like I said, we are monitoring all the other remaining games as they are going on at this hour. And we will give you a full recap of the day 2 action. That will be coming up in just a matter of minutes, immediately following our recap of Smackdown Live. So right now, that's exactly where we're going to go. I just got to pull up the Smackdown notes, and then we'll get right back into the NCAA coverage. So Smackdown Live today was held today from Bologna, Italia in Italy. And yes, the crowd, the Euros, being a bunch of knuckleheads, and we were all for it. So, obviously, again, we're going to cover it by starting with just the matches only. So, we did have a promo segment between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Go out of your way to watch that. That was pretty badass.
It set up the long rumored WrestleMania match. It is official. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, WrestleMania.
All right. So we started off with Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso going up against Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura. Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso winning the match in 7 minutes and 45 seconds. I thought they did a fine job. This was all right. This was about a 2-star bout. I thought it could have been better in certain areas. But, at the end of the day, they did pretty well. So, Anthony, it's yours.
2.5. This is about as down the middle as a match can get. The post-match attack from Drew McIntyre helped further the feud with him and Damian Priest, but the tag match wasn't much of anything. Everyone looked good. It just didn't feel like there was any urgency. I do have one small observation here. I usually do my after-match observations on our shows, but because of the time constraints, I can't really do that. But there is one that I do want to address, and that is it just me, MF, or did this match feel like a match out of, like, say, 2010 for some reason? It's hard to explain. That's not a bad thing, but the randomness of the teams, I thought, felt that way, if I'm going to be honest. So I'll give it about 2.5 stars for the effort. So not much more to say. Let's get into our next match with some interesting stakes.
Yeah, this was a contenders match, and the winner will get a future shot at the United States Heavyweight Championship. Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. Braun Strowman wins the match via disqualification in 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Anthony Strowman gets the title shot.
Next week at the O2 in London. While most of it, well, I'll tell you what, Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa ended up interfering to cause the disqualification. Jacob Fatu looked upset that he was robbed of his chance to beat Strowman. And then LA Knight showed up to lend Strowman a hand. Strowman was declared the winner, which means he gets the title shot next week. While most of this match was fun, ending this with a DQ I thought felt like lazy booking, especially since that is how their last match ended. Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu appear to have more issues to work out, so that could lead to something interesting. But the fans were still robbed of a clean win because WWE doesn't want to commit to putting one guy over the other yet. Another 2.5, 2 3/4 star match for this, so not much more to say. MF next week, LA Knight, Braun Strowman, U.S. title at the O2. Let's go.
Yeah, that's gonna be a solid match. I'm very excited for that as well. I think this was a good about a 2.5 star match. I thought they did really well. So nothing more to add there. Next up we had was Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega. Piper Niven winning the match in 12 minutes and 10 seconds. Solid match. Went a little longer than it necessarily needed to go, but it's fine. It was fine. Not a problem. Obviously, when you got a 3-hour run time, you got some things to go there. But here's the thing. Zelina Vega lost the match because of the fact that, Chelsea Green and her crew basically kind of stirred the hornet's nest more than anything else. So it's still a good win for Piper. But if you're Zelina Vega, you're thinking in the back of your mind, if it wasn't for Chelsea Green, I probably would have had that. And now I kind of feel like they might push Zelina versus Chelsea, maybe for WrestleMania, maybe for that women's U.S. title. Maybe Zelina does get the opportunity, and maybe she might be the next challenger for this title. We'll see, but I like where it's going. This was an all right match. Another 2.5 star match. Anthony, is yours.
I'm gonna give it 3 to 3.25 for this. The match lasted through. Let me say it like this: the huge size disparity allowed Piper Niven to dominate her much smaller opponent most of the time, but Zelina Vega's speed and agility allowed her to stay in the match. The match lasted through a break, and then the next segment it definitely picked up steam a bit, but it still never quite felt like they got out of second gear. Vega is capable of working at a fast pace, so it was surprising to see her moving a bit slower. Piper Niven able to score the win, which may have squashed any chance Vega had for a women's U.S. title shot. This was not the best we have seen from either competitor, but it wasn't bad either. Niven getting a win is always a plus, I will say that. So I'll give this about 3 to 3.25 for this match. So next match.
All right. Next match after that, it was Jay Cargill going 1-on-1 with Liv Morgan, winner of the bout, 10 minutes and 10 seconds. Liv Morgan knocks off Jay Cargill, but hold, before everybody starts freaking out, Naomi got involved. She hit Jade with one of the championship belts. That led to Oblivion, and that led to Jade Cargill suffering her first official loss in WWE. She has never been pinned until now. This was her first official defeat in WWE, thanks to Naomi sticking her nose where it didn't belong and helping Liv Morgan getting the win. Anthony Floyo, it's yours.
Another 3 to 3.25. The match was decent, but having another dirty ending on this show took away some of the impact of the finish. Naomi's post-match attack was fun, though. I will say that. 3 to 3.25. It's definitely looking like they're setting up for a Naomi and Jade Cargill match at WrestleMania. So that's what it looks like. So this was a good way to start the build for that. So 3.25. Let's move on.
All right. Then after that, we did have a non-title match, as it was the Street Profits going up against Los Garzas. Street Profits wins the match in 14 minutes and 30 seconds. Obviously, this was the fight of the night. Amazing tag team match, to say the very least. This was at least 3.75 to 4 stars. I loved everything about this. There was one moment in the match that made me absolutely hyped, to say the very least. That was when, they try to do this suplex off, and Montez Ford found landed on his feet, looked at the crowd. The crowd was going nuts, and this made the match even more better than it was supposed to be, to say the very least. I loved it. I thought this was awesome. Nothing more to say. 3.75 to 4. Anthony, it's yours.
3.5, 3.75. With two teams that had this kind of athleticism, it didn't take them much effort to put on one of the best matches on WWE television this week. Both teams had plenty of chances to shine. Solid work from start to finish from both teams. And MF, you mentioned it. That I was gonna add that in my. There is one thing I do need. There is one small thing I need to address here. Santos Escobar is too good to be on the sidelines so much. WWE, you need to find a feud for him. The Garza special was a great spot, and you said it. The moment when Montez Ford landed on his feet from a double press slam on the top rope was awesome. Angel Umberto sold the moment perfectly, and the crowd ate it up. You nailed it. So obviously the fight of the night here, 3.5, 3.75 of a star. And the final word, well, the tribal chief, he had the final word, but he had two other guests coming to that dinner table.
Oh, yeah. And that was Seth freaking Rollins and CM Punk. And boys, well, if it didn't explode, it exploded now. All three men were all pointing at the WrestleMania sign. And, well, there was really nothing more to say. But, Nick Aldis was directing traffic, everything else to try to stop what it went down. But I can confirm now that, this came from WWE. They've made it official. It is happening at WrestleMania. Seth freaking Rollins, CM Punk, and the OTC Roman Reigns triple threat at WrestleMania. It is official. Anthony Florio, batten down the hatches. This is about to get insane. We remember WrestleMania 20. We remember WrestleMania 30 as some of the greatest triple threat matches in WrestleMania history. This one may take the cake.
Oh, I mean, with the body of work of these guys, come on. I mean, we're definitely looking at a show stealer on this one. And yep, I do see it. It is official. So we've got 6 matches now. We're up to 6 now for the Mania card. And WWE.com. It is official. They have made it. So it's very rare. I mean, this is only the second triple threat match that I can ever remember at a WrestleMania that did not have any stakes. It wasn't for a championship, or it wasn't for, the number one contendership to a title. The only other match I can remember that was anything like this was Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Ted DiBiase at WrestleMania 26. So we get that here now. So that legacy triple threat at 26 was okay. It was about a 3-star match. This here has potential to be a show stealer. we may have to call the Las Vegas PD because those three boys are about to steal the dang show, whatever night they put it on. So we'll wait and see what they decide to do with it. But I mean, all these matches so far look good, but that one there with the emotion and the intensity and the personal nature of it, it could go down as one of the best triple threats of all time, right up there with Benoit, HBK, and Triple H at 20, like MF said. So we'll see. It's got 4.5 to 5 star potential, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to it. MF's looking forward to it. I'm sure Bullock's looking forward to it also when he gets word of this. So, man, oh man, that's going to be something else. So, very good, great way to close it out. That was the segment of the night, and it's overall review time.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say it wasn't the most electrifying SmackDown we've had. I mean, we've seen better ones. But I will say it was fine for what it was worth. It was enjoyable for the most part. They did an all right job with it. So I'm not totally gonna say it was remarkable or amazing or anything else. I think it was serviceable more than anything else. And yes, I thought they did a good job. So yeah, at the end of the day, my official rating for it, I'll give this about maybe. I want to say about 7. Anthony, it's yours.
6.5 to 7 for me. Once again, as a whole, tonight's show felt lacking. The tag match with Los Garza and the Street Profits was a lot of fun, but nothing else on the show stood out as something you need to go out of your way to see. WWE usually makes the international shows feel somewhat special, but the only thing about tonight's episode that was special was the lively crowd, of course. Italy gave WWE a lot for very little in return. Most of the matches were passable, but a lot of what we got between them felt superfluous, and they did some work to build WrestleMania, so it wasn't a total wash. 6.5, teetering on 7 once again, just like with the TNA. So there isn't anything else left to say except MF, let's continue our coverage of the NCAA tournament.
All right, guys. We are going to give you a rundown on all the matches on all of day 2 coverage. So just give me 1 minute so I can pull up the score sheet. We got 2 games currently going on at this hour, but currently they are in blowout mode. Basically in the first round in the South. Unfortunately for you Bryant fans, it's not turning out the way that they were hoping for. Michigan State currently up 81-57, 3 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game. It looks like Michigan State is well on their way to winning. And then also first round in the East Regional, Oregon is winning 64-36. There will be no 12-5 upset on that one. So we will move on with that. So let's start out from the top. Earlier today, first game from Raleigh, North Carolina. It was Baylor knocking off Mississippi State. This was the 8-9 matchup. The number 9 Baylor Bears, the one-time national champions, knocking out Mississippi State. Closest game for you folks. 75-72 was the final score in that one. And Baylor moves on to round number 2. Then, the next game that we did have, it was Alabama knocking off Robert Morris. This was a first round matchup in the East Regional. They won the game 90-81. But I will say this. There was a point where Alabama was in deep trouble. Robert Morris almost had them. At one point, Robert Morris had a big lead, and there was a point where I think myself, Anthony Floyd, Michael Bullock, we were all having heart attacks because we're thinking, no, 15-2, impossible. No way this is going to happen. Well, Alabama found their way. They figured it out, and they got the job done, and they won it. So, yeah, nothing more to say there. We had a near scare, but it wasn't meant to be. Then we had the first round matchup in the South Regional. The number 3 Iowa State. They went up against Lipcomb and they won it. Iowa State advances 82-55. Domination performance from beginning to end. No scare whatsoever. And we move on to the next game. The next game on the docket was from the West Regional, and Anthony, it happened again. The dreaded 12-5 strikes again in the tournament for the second time in this tournament. A 12 is knocked off the 5. Colorado State knocks out Memphis. 78-70 was the final score here today. And Colorado State moves on to round 2. They will wait the winner of the 4-13 matchup. I'll get into that in just a minute. Then we went into the next batch of games. It started out in Raleigh, and it was the Duke Blue Devils going up against Mount St. Mary's. Duke wins the game 93-49. It wasn't even close, guys. Duke jumped out to an 18-4 lead in the first 5 minutes of the game. You kind of knew where this was going to go after that. For all you fans out there wondering what Cooper Flagg did, 14 points in the game, but they did pull him out early in the first half. Then they had him play about 10 minutes in the second half, then pulled him out, and then he basically did not play the rest of the way. Basically, they didn't really have to do it. They wanted to give him a little continuity, get his feet wet. All in all, I think Cooper Flagg played about maybe 17 minutes the whole game. So he played about 7 minutes in the first half before they sat him down, then played about 10 minutes in the second half, and then sat him down, and he never even saw the court ever again. And quite frankly, they didn't need him at all. But he looked good. He said he's 100%, had no problem with the ankle. If that is the case, that's bad news for everybody. Because if he's at 100%, I'm saying it, Duke is going to win the national championship. Next up we had was St. Mary's. They went up against Vanderbilt, and boy, this was the game of the day. St. Mary survives 59-56 over Vanderbilt to advance to the next round in the East Regional. And my goodness, this game was back and forth. Could have gone either way, but yeah, it was definitely a great game. Then we had the 6-11 in the South. Ole Miss went up against North Carolina. Ole Miss wins the game 71-64. But don't be caught by the score line. I know a lot of people was like, oh, it was a close game. No, it was not. North Carolina got absolutely bushwhacked in this game. They came out very bad. It was a horrible performance by North Carolina. Now those detractors that were saying, oh, Carolina should not have been in the tournament, they might have been right all along. We don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. So next up we had was the 4-13, the Maryland Terrapins versus Grand Canyon. This was the first round matchup in the West region, and it was Maryland putting a whooping on Grand Canyon, 81-49. Yeah, so much for my thought. I thought Grand Canyon, they had the better record. I was like, I don't know, maybe this could be this might be an upset. I think this could be an upset. Yeah, it was looking good, though, for maybe about 5 minutes in the first half. And then Maryland was like, yeah, it's over. We're dumping this. Enough of this. We're putting them out. So they did what they had to do. They dominated. That was an easy victory for Maryland. Next up we had was Norfolk State versus Florida. Florida dominant, wins 95-69 over Norfolk State. They advanced to the next round of the tournament. First round in the West region. Domination from beginning to end. Florida looked good. A couple of guys that I was talking to, they're like, "Yo, that's Florida." You know what? They're considered the fourth number one seed, and they were like, other than Duke, Florida was probably the most impressive. If they play like that, they might win it all. Well, we'll see. They've won twice in back-to-back years, so could this be a start of something new? We'll see. Then we had Kentucky going up against the men of Troy. It was Kentucky. They won it. Final score was 76-57. Dominating performance by the Wildcats in the Midwest region to advance to the next round. And then these are, so now we're in the nightcap games. So that was the first nightcap game. That's the second one. The third one, you can call this a mild upset. New Mexico knocks down Marquette, 75-66, final score. And then that was in the South Regional. And then the last game of I guess you could call it the early, I should say, yeah. And the last game of the early slate of the last game of the early evening slate, Arizona taking down Akron by the final score of 93-65 in the East Regional. Then going now to the late night games. These are the games that are going on at this hour. Well, 3 of these games have gone final. 1 game still outstanding, still out there to be taken care of. The first game, like we did a little bonus commentary, not much, but a little bit. UConn knocking off Oklahoma, 67-59 was the final score in that one. Then in the Midwest region, Illinois starts their road to the Final Four with a very convincing victory over Xavier, 86-73. Just gone final. Unfortunately, Bryant fans, not the outcome you were looking for. The Michigan State Spartans put out Bryant. Final score was 87-62. And finally, the game that's going on at this hour in the East Regional, the 12-5, and Oregon 73-41 on Liberty with 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. Anthony, why don't you just give us a quick thought on all of the coverage that's happened here on day 2, and then I'll set you up with the matchups that's coming up.
Yeah. Looking at the action from today, Baylor and Mississippi State, great game. You had a good one there, MF, and I can't say I'm surprised with the outcome. I had a feeling Baylor was going to pull that one out. I mean, that could have gone either way, but I gave a slight edge to Baylor because of their recent success, and I'm glad I went with that one. Alabama. Wow. You mentioned it, and I saw it too. Alabama definitely got more than their money's worth from Robert Morris. They thought they were going to smash these guys. No, Robert Morris. Yeah, Robert Morris is like, you're going to put some respect on our name. And it looked dicey. It was very dicey for Alabama early on. But then in the second half, they got back to basics. And Bama, their 19th game this season, scoring at least 90 or more points. And that's why they're a team to beat in this tournament as well. Iowa State, no trouble with Lipscomb. I mean, and I gotta talk about this 12-5 upset stuff here. I took a couple of chances on the 12-5 upsets, and I called the wrong ones. I mean, and this was another one. I thought Memphis was maybe on their way back to being one of those top teams. This was the best. I thought because of but this being Memphis's best year, this is one of the best years Memphis has had in a long time, probably since the John Calipari days. I mean, I thought they were going to make a decent run here, but no. Colorado State. They came to play today, and credit where credit is due to Coach Nico Medved and the Colorado State Rams. They get the second 12-5 upset. There were two 12-5 upsets, and I did not call either of them. I called for two 12-5 upsets, but they both went against me. So it is what it is. Duke, no surprise. They had no trouble with Mount St. Mary's whatsoever. Cooper Flagg looked good, and I'm glad they limited his playing time. And you got to protect the franchise. He's the franchise of that team. So yeah, and some of the things I saw from that young man today, very impressive. St. Mary's and Vandy, good game there. I had St. Mary's winning this one. That could have gone either way, but I just had this feeling about St. Mary's. I thought St. Mary's was the better team going into it, and they got it done. So big win for them. Very disappointed with North Carolina. I mean, to be honest, I thought I had North Carolina in our bracket manager. I thought I made the switch, but no, it turns out I still had Ole Miss in there. I'm glad it held up. I mean, Ole Miss getting that 71-64 win, but very disappointing performance from North Carolina. After that incredible effort, after how they smashed San Diego State in that play-in game, I thought, Carolina's back. Yeah, about that. It was kind of like that McNeese Clemson game yesterday. The final score, don't let that final score fool you. Ole Miss dominated that game from start to finish. Maryland, no trouble with Grand Canyon. I can understand why MF had a feeling about Grand Canyon, but it's Maryland. Tournament-tested team, a former national champion in their own right back in 2002. And they've had a lot of great success in the tournament over the years. And this is the best Maryland team I've seen in quite some time. It's been a long time since Maryland's been this good. So they looked good today. Florida, no trouble with Norfolk State. I'm not surprised by that. Florida, another one of the odds-on favorites to win this tournament, no question. Kentucky, no trouble with Troy. I gotta be honest. I was disappointed by Marquette. I mean, I was expecting more from Marquette. I mean, I thought Marquette was gonna look pretty good in this game. I thought Marquette was gonna win that one, but okay, New Mexico, I see you. I see you, New Mexico. I'm gonna put some respect on your name. Well done. Great win. Arizona, no big surprise. No trouble with Akron. UConn, hey, they jumped out early, but then Oklahoma hung with them. I'm like, okay. But let's not forget, UConn lost a lot of their key starters from last year, like Stephon Castle, and Castle was the heart and soul of that team. But they still have Alex Caravan, the big man, and he made some big plays down the stretch. And UConn, you worried me a little bit, but I'm not surprised that they beat Oklahoma here. I knew they were going to pull it out. Illinois, nice win over Xavier. And can't say I'm surprised by that. Michigan State. Hey, I got to tell you, Bryant actually hung with them early. Early on, Bryant looked pretty good against Michigan State. That the little engine that could from Smithfield, Rhode Island. I mean, I thought they were going to pull it out. There was a small part of me that was like, uh-oh. But then Michigan State has done what they've always done under the legendary Tom Izzo. Once they turn on those burners, they are tough. They are a very tough out. Another former national champion in their own right, winning it back in 2000. They had another shot at it a number of years later, but they ran into North Carolina and crushed their dreams. But but who knows? Maybe this could be the best chance for Michigan State to get back there. You never know. Michigan State, another one of the favorites. We'll see what happens. And it is now gone final. Oregon has defeated Liberty 81-52. Oregon has advanced. So they move on Sunday. And Yeah. A lot of blowouts today. The theme of the day, MF, the word of the day is blowout. We had several blowouts today. And the 1 seeds look good. The 2 seeds look good. Although Bama did get a bit of a scare from Robert Morris. But I thought all in all, a solid day of action in the on day number 2 of the NCAA tournament. And here are the up-to-the-minute standings in our TXN Sports World Bracket Manager group. It's very close between the 3 of us. But MF, you have the lead. MF is in first with 24 points. Right behind him is myself. I'm right behind you, 23. 23 points for me. And Michael Bullock at third, but he's got 21. So 24 MF, 23 me, 21 Bullock after the first round, after the round of 64. And we'll see what happens as we get ready to start the round of 32 in about a little less than 12 hours from now. I've got Bullock and I have the first 2 games. So the first 2 games of the day from Providence. So with that, MF, let's set the table for the games. Well, the games for Sunday, times to be determined, but we got the times and we're ready to go. So, all right, MF, let's look at the games on slate for tomorrow as we start the round of 32.
Yes, all right. So we're going to start it out 12:10 Eastern from the Amica Mutual Pavilion, Providence, Rhode Island. Round 2 in the Midwest region. The number 12 McNeese State. They'll be going up against the Purdue Boilermakers. That'll be at 12:10 is the tip-off time for that game. And then immediately following it, 30 minutes after that game, approximately 2:40 Eastern, it will be the big one from Providence as well. Arkansas goes up against St. John's. That is John Calipari versus Rick Pitino, man. Oh, what a matchup that's going to be. Then
good tale of the tape too. Great tale of the tape. Two of the all-time greats. Two national championships for Rick Pitino. 1 for Calipari. They've been to Final Fours. They have a lot of tournament wins between them. All-time wins as well. And Calipari leads the all-time series 13-10. It's going to be a fun one.
And then we move on. 5:15 Eastern time, also on CBS. The number 4 Texas A&M. They'll go up against the number 5 Michigan Wolverines. That's a second round in the South region. Then at 6:10 on TNT, it will be Drake, the number 11 seed, going up against the number 3 seed Texas Tech. That's the second round matchup in the West region. Then at 7:10, second round matchup in the South Regional. The number 9 Creighton goes up against the top seed Auburn Tigers. Then we have at 7:45 on CBS, the BYU Cougars, the number 6 seed goes up against the number 3 seed Wisconsin Badgers. That'll be a second round matchup on the East Regional. Then at 8:40 Eastern on TNT, Midwest Regional, second round, the number 1 Houston Cougars goes up against the Gonzaga Bulldogs. That's the one that Michael Bullock said, keep a close eye on. This could be upset. Well, we'll see if Michael Bullock is right on that one. And then the last game of the night at 9:40 Eastern time approximately, it will be the number 7 UCLA Bruins against the number 2 Tennessee Volunteers, second round matchup in the Midwest region. And then the Sunday action. Right now, these games are just matchups. We do not know the times or the channels as of yet. We will just treat it as such. So here are the 8 matchups. First matchup, second round in the South Regional. The number 3 Iowa State, they'll go up against the number 6 Ole Miss. Second round matchup on Sunday, it's South Regional. The number 2 Michigan State Spartans, They'll go up against the number 10 New Mexico. Then we also got is the number 4 Maryland Terrapins. They will go up against the Rams of Colorado State. Second round matchup in the West Regional. Then get ready for this great matchup. Second round, East Regional. The number 4 Arizona Wildcats versus the number 5 Oregon Ducks.
Pac-12 rivalry. Pac-12 rivalry revisited.
Yes. Then we also got a good one. Second round in the East region, Alabama to go up against St. Mary's. And then these next 3, you could probably call them. Oh, they just posted the times. We got some times. Good. Okay. So 12:10 Eastern on Sat. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Are they all coming up? All right, give me a minute. They're coming up.
Okay.
Give me a second. All right. Yep, they're all coming up. They're slowly coming up and they're just popping up. So just give me a second, folks. All right. So I can now confirm 12:10 Eastern on Sunday. It will be the number 1 Florida Gators against the number 8 UConn Huskies. That has just been confirmed. Also, I want to also announce at 2:40 Eastern Time, the number 1 Duke Blue Devils, they will be going up against the number 9 Baylor Bears. So that's the matchup in Raleigh, North Carolina. Just like how Providence jumped it off for Saturday, Raleigh's jumping it off on Sunday.
Nice.
So, all right. So we got that. Now, all right, hold on. Okay, so next up we got at 5:10 Eastern Time, it'll be the number 3 Kentucky Wildcats. They'll go up against the number 6 Illinois Fighting Illini, Midwest Regional on that one. Also, 6:10 Eastern. This is the matchup that we were talking about earlier. This is the St. Mary's versus Alabama. That will be the 7-2 in the East Regional. They just now posted. Okay. There's more that just popped up. So we're just waiting on one game left. So just give me a minute. The Maryland versus Colorado State is now set for 7:10. The Iowa State versus Ole Miss has now been set for 8:40 Eastern Time. The Arizona versus Oregon is set for 9:40 Eastern Time. We just don't have a time set for the Michigan State versus New Mexico. We're awaiting that one right now.
8:40 on TNT. 8:40 on TNT.
All right. So let's do a full reset. So let's reset this as it stands right now. Here is the official breakdown right now. UConn versus Florida, 12:10 CBS. Duke versus Baylor, 2:40 CBS, all on Sunday.
Yes.
Then Kentucky, Illinois, 5:15 CBS.
Yep.
6:10. Alabama versus St. Mary's. That game is on TNT. Then we have TBS. Maryland versus Colorado State at 7:10. At 8:40. Now you just confirmed this, Anthony. Iowa State and Ole Miss, 8:40 on TNT.
Ole Miss and Iowa State is at 7:45 on True TV.
All right, because they got this right now. All right, they have not updated this because they have. All right, so that's True TV. Then we got Michigan State and New Mexico, 8:40. That's on TNT. final game of the night on TBS at 9:40 Eastern. Oregon versus Arizona.
Yes.
East Regional. There it is.
Okay.
There you go, folks. Just got confirmed just minutes ago. While we were doing this is the beauty of live, of it being live. While I was going through all the matchups, I started seeing them pop up one by one immediately. So I was like, whoa, hold. So yeah, so that's it. That's all the matchups. We're confirmed. We're ready. So that's it. So guys, enjoy the coverage this weekend. Next week we'll recap all that. We'll recap the second round, and we'll get you into the Sweet 16. We'll do it on Thursday as always, and then 1 week from tonight, Friday, we'll do the Friday portion of the games. Anthony Florio, it's going to be something else, man. We're excited. Round 2 starts tomorrow, and we start bright and early at 12 in the afternoon, at high noon. We do the round 2, and what a way to start it in Providence, Rhode Island.
And Raleigh the next day.
So. And Raleigh the next day. Yeah, here we go again.
Love it.
All right.
Always great to start off with the respective A and B teams here.
Yeah. So, and then after that, then we move on and we see where we go for the regionals. So we'll find out. We'll get those assignments next week. All right. So we're out of here. So on Tuesday, we do it all over again. We start out with Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio. We're going to do, obviously, Monday Night Raw. We're going to have the NXT. And then on Thursday, it's another edition of TXN Sports World. This time around, we'll recap the NCAA coverage that's going on right now. And, of course, the start of the Major League Baseball season. We got the full preview for you guys.
And Michael Bullock, too. And if Bullock is on the show, we'll have him share his experiences of the 24-hour Super Plunge.
Yes, indeed. So we're going to do that. And then after that, then Friday, obviously, another edition of Cerebral Smack Talk, TNA, Smackdown Live. There are no specials. And then, of course, we might have some bonus commentary for the NCAA tournament because we'll probably be knee-deep into the second games of the regional tournaments at that point in time. So we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. And then we're on to the road to the Final Four, man. We're gonna be one round away. We're gonna be a couple rounds away from the Final Four, and then next week we will preview, and then the week after that we'll preview that as well. So we got a lot coming up. Good time to be alive in sports, folks. That's all I can say about that.
Amen.
All right, for Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher. Like the video, leave a comment at the bottom, share with all your friends on all the social media platforms. Guys, thank you so much. We love you very much. We'll see you soon. We'll see you on Monday. Until then.
Tuesday.
Oh, we'll see you on Tuesday. My bad. So long, everybody. Have a good night.
Goodbye.